The throbbing under my left eye keeps time with my heartbeat. I stand at the kitchen sink, pressing a dishcloth filled with ice against my face. The cold numbs the pain but does nothing for the fear coursing through me like electricity. The lock turns in the front door. My breath catches. No one should be here. Troy said he'd be out until evening, and I'd counted on those precious hours of solitude to think, to plan. I drop the ice pack into the sink and straighten my blouse, muscle memory taking over. My parents appear in the kitchen doorway, grocery bags in hand. Mom's smile freezes, her eyes widening as they land on what must be a spectacular purple bloom beneath my eye. Dad stiffens behind her, his gaze sliding to the floor like water off wax. "Mira, honey," Mom says, her voice unnaturally bright. "We thought we'd surprise you with some groceries." She bustles past me to the counter, not acknowledging what's plainly written across my face. The betrayal slices deeper than any of Troy's words ever could. They see, they know, and they choose to look away. "What a nice surprise," I manage, the words tasting like pennies in my mouth. Dad places his bag on the table, careful not to make eye contact. "Beautiful weather we're having," he says to the refrigerator. "Warm for October." A key jingles in the lock again and my stomach drops to the floor. Troy saunters in, beer bottle dangling between his fingers, his smile widening when he spots my parents. "Well, look at this." He takes a long pull from the bottle. Such a polite little family. Mom becomes a flurry of movement, unpacking apples and bread as if her life depends on it. "We brought those steaks you like, Troy," she says, "and that potato salad from Wilson's Deli." I watch her hands trembling slightly as she arranges food in our refrigerator, wondering if she notices how bare it is, how the shelves hold only the cheapest essentials. Does she see the control in that too? Dad clears his throat. "The Patriots looked good last weekend. You catch that game?" Troy launches into sports talk, his voice normal, reasonable. No trace of the man who sent me crashing into the kitchen counter hours earlier. I stand perfectly still, my phone a heavy weight in my pocket. The text from Raina burns in my memory. "Whatever you need, whenever, no questions." My mother chatters about neighborhood gossip, her eyes skittering around the kitchen like trapped birds, landing everywhere except my face. Dad maintains uncomfortable small talk with Troy, laughing too loudly at his jokes. I can't believe what's happening. My own parents see my bruised face and choose comfort over confrontation. Choose to abandon their daughter to danger rather than acknowledge the ugly truth standing before them. Earlier today, I'd watched Troy withdraw $850 from our joint account. The bank notification popped up on my phone while I was reconciling accounts at work. "We need that money for rent," I'd said when he came home, keeping my voice calm, reasonable. "That's almost our entire savings." "It's my money too," he'd replied, opening another beer. "Had a sure thing on that Broncos game." "Troy, please, we can't afford." The slap came from nowhere, spinning me sideways. My hip caught the edge of the counter as I fell, but it was my face that took the real damage, cheekbone connecting with the cabinet handle on the way down. He was immediately contrite, helping me up with gentle hands that had struck me seconds before. "You always push me," he'd whispered, brushing hair from my face. "See what you made me do?" Now, my parents prepare to leave after their brief, bizarre visit. Mom hugs me lightly, careful to avoid my injury. "Call us soon," she says, her smile too wide, too brittle. Dad pats my shoulder awkwardly. "Take care, sweetheart." Neither of them says a word about the bruise. Neither offers help or even acknowledgement. They simply leave, closing the door quietly behind them. I walk to the bathroom while Troy settles on the couch with his beer and the remote. I lock the door and lean against it, allowing myself exactly 3 deep breaths. Then I take out my phone and photograph my face from several angles, capturing the purple-red stains spreading beneath my eye. I save them to a hidden folder, adding them to my growing collection of evidence. After they leave, "I won't be here," I whisper to my reflection, so quietly the words barely exist. Through the window, I watch my parents' car pull away from the curb. They don't look back, don't pause, don't return to save their daughter. Troy's mocking laughter drifts from the living room. "Not even your own parents care," he calls out, words slightly slurred. Nobody believes you, Mira. Nobody ever will. I don't respond. I stand straighter, something hardening inside me where fear once lived. My fingers find the burner phone hidden behind the bathroom cabinet, purchased weeks ago during a lunch break. Troy won't stay awake long. The beer will do what it always does. And when he sleeps, I'll finally do what I should have done months ago. I touch the tender skin beneath my eye, no longer feeling the pain. They all think they know me, the accommodating wife, the dutiful daughter. None of them have any idea what I'm capable of. Next day, the Excel spreadsheet glows on my monitor like a confession. Column A, date. Column B, amount. Column C, stated purpose. Column D, actual use. Column E, my access restricted. I add today's withdrawal to the growing list. $850. Emergency car repair. Online poker. Yes. My office door remains cracked open hospital protocol, but the angle of my monitor faces away from the hallway. 5 minutes until my next meeting. 5 minutes to document another betrayal. Hey, budget wizard. Dr. Reeves pokes his head in, startling me. I minimize the window with one practiced keystroke. Those quarterly projections ready? On your desk since yesterday morning. I smile, the muscles in my face performing their choreographed routine. Post. It note on top. Right, sorry. He taps the doorframe twice. Don't know what I'd do without you keeping this place running. If only he knew how much practice I have at keeping broken systems functioning. When he's gone, I reopen the spreadsheet. My finger hovers over the trackpad before clicking on a folder labeled Elm River Docs in my secure cloud storage. The name brings back memories of childhood summers at my grandparents' cottage on the Elm River, last place I remember feeling completely safe. Inside are subfolders with bland, innocuous names. Budget templates, insurance claims, equipment depreciation. Nobody looking over my shoulder would give them a second glance. I click on equipment depreciation and upload today's spreadsheet update, then open insurance claims. Inside are 73 photographs, meticulously dated and categorized. Bruises on arms, legs, ribs, finger marks on my throat, split lip from last August. The collection grows like a terrible garden. My phone buzzes. Mom. Mira, honey, she chirps when I answer. Just checking in after our visit yesterday. You seemed stressed. My fingers instinctively touch the tender skin beneath my eye. Did I? Work pressure, I imagine. Always burning the candle at both ends. Her voice carries the practiced cheerfulness I've inherited. Dad and I thought maybe you and Troy could come over Sunday for pot roast. The bruise throbs with my heartbeat. You saw my face, Mom. A pause. The sound of water running, dishes being rinsed. Everyone has rough patches, sweetie. Marriage takes work. Is that what Dad did? Did he work on marriage by putting his hands on you? Mira Jean. The shock in her voice sounds genuine. That's completely different. Your father never. She stops abruptly. Troy's family has been through a lot. His father was much harder on him than necessary. He's trying. So am I. I lower my voice as a nurse passes my office. I've been trying for years. These things take time. Remember how your cousin Sheila and her husband went through counseling after his drinking problem? They're doing wonderfully now. The familiar weight settles on my chest, the knowledge that my own mother will sacrifice me on the altar of family stability. That bruises are inconvenient evidence to be ignored rather than cries for help. I'll see if we can make Sunday. I lie, because it's easier than fighting. After we hang up, I open the voice memo app on my phone and record the date and time, then summarize our conversation verbatim. This too goes into the Elm River folder, under Family Communications. The cafeteria buzzes with lunchtime activity when I arrive at 12:15 exactly. Raina waves from our usual corner table, her ER nurse scrubs wrinkled from an overnight shift. Her smile fades when she sees my face. Jesus, Mira. She keeps her voice low as I sit. That's worse than yesterday. Makeup can only do so much. I unwrap my sandwich methodically. My parents stopped by yesterday. And? They brought groceries. And silence. Raina's dark eyes flash. Bastards. All of them. My father took Troy hunting last month. I arranged my napkin precisely on my lap. They saw the bruise on my wrist from when he grabbed me. Dad asked if I'd been mouthing off again. Beneath the table, Raina squeezes my knee. To anyone watching, we're just two hospital employees having lunch. Nobody would notice the thumb drive passing from her hand to mine. Apartment's ready, she whispers. Lease signed yesterday. Keys in the envelope at my place. The code to my garage is the same. Thank you. The words feel inadequate for what she's risking. Troy's cousin Michael is a police sergeant in our district. His family owns half the rental properties in town. His father plays golf with the hospital administrator. I added the security bar for the door. Changed the locks too, though the landlord doesn't know. She takes a bite of her salad. How's the documentation coming? Almost there. Just need to... My phone chimes with a bank alert. I stare at the screen in disbelief. Another withdrawal. $1,200 this time. Mira? Raina leans forward, concerned. The phone trembles in my hand. He's emptying the account. 2 withdrawals in one day. He knows. You don't know that. But her eyes dart around the cafeteria, as if Troy might appear between the salad bar and the coffee station. I stand abruptly, heart hammering. If I don't leave now, I might never leave alive. Raina nods once, no questions asked. She's witnessed too many domestic violence cases in the ER to doubt me. We've rehearsed this moment for months. I text her from the elevator. Elm River, confirmed. 3 stops later, my phone buzzes with her reply. Roger that, 10 to 4. The elevator doors open, and I step out into the sunlight. The distance between captivity and freedom measured in heartbeats, in bruises, in careful planning. Soon I will definitely disappear. The silent collector of evidence will finally use what she's gathered. On Sunday, Troy's fingers hover over my phone, scrolling through my call history with the methodical precision of a predator. I fold laundry at the edge of our bed, my movements deliberately casual while my pulse hammers in my throat. Who's this number? He holds up the screen. You called it 3 times last week. The pharmacy. The lie slides out smooth as river water. My prescription needed prior authorization. He studies my face, searching for cracks in my composure. I've gotten better at this, maintaining eye contact, keeping my breathing steady. The number actually belongs to the Women's Resource Center, but I've labeled it Walgreens RX in my contacts. You're hiding something. He sets the phone down but doesn't release it. You've been different lately. Different, yes. The word doesn't begin to cover the transformation happening beneath my skin, invisible to him but pulsing with life. I smooth a pillowcase, buying seconds to compose my response. Just tired, I say. End of the fiscal quarter at work. The doorbell chimes, saving me from further interrogation. My stomach tightens Sunday afternoon, right on schedule. Your parents are here. Troy's voice brightens instantly, the Jekyll emerging as Hyde retreats. He hands back my phone with a warning look. We'll finish this later. My father carries a grocery bag. My mother a homemade apple pie. The scent of cinnamon fills our kitchen as they settle in, studiously avoiding the fading yellow bruise beneath my eye. Beautiful weather for October, Dad says, patting Troy's shoulder. You catch the Patriots game? Mom busies herself with coffee cups, her fingers trembling slightly as she arranges cream and sugar on the tray. I watch her navigate around my kitchen with precise movements, a dance of deliberate blindness. Mira, honey, how's work? She asks, her eyes fixed somewhere over my left shoulder. Fine. I place forks beside the dessert plates. We've been short-staffed. They work her too hard, Troy interjects, his arm sliding around my waist in a gesture that appears loving but feels like a vice. Always bringing paperwork home. My mother nods sympathetically while my father launches into a story about his retirement committee. Neither acknowledges how Troy's thumb digs into my hip bone, how I shift imperceptibly away. Later, as they prepare to leave, my mother hugs me with brittle cheerfulness. We should go shopping next weekend, girls' day out. The invitation lands like ash in my mouth. 2 Saturdays ago, I'd called her in tears after Troy had thrown my laptop against the wall. She'd listened, then said, "Marriage takes patience, dear. Your father and I have been through rough patches too." I smile now, the expression a mask I've perfected. That sounds nice. After they leave, Troy retreats to the basement to watch sports highlights. I slip into the bathroom, lock the door, and lean against it, allowing myself exactly 3 deep breaths before removing the domestic violence pamphlet from inside the tampon box where I've hidden it. Dr. Levine had recognized the signs 3 weeks ago during my annual physical. "Your friend in trouble," she'd said after I'd fabricated a story about a coworker. "Should know there are resources available." She'd slipped the pamphlet into my lab results folder with knowing eyes. The support group meets Tuesdays during my lunch break in the hospital's West Wing conference room. 8 women, all with stories echoing mine in different keys. The first time I spoke, my voice shook so badly I could barely form words. Now I sit straighter, my sentences more certain. "You're collecting evidence," Marissa had told me last week, approval warming her voice. "That's smart. Most women don't think of that until it's too late." My phone vibrates with a text from Raina. "Coffee tomorrow? Early shift." Our code for meeting at the hospital cafeteria before Troy wakes. I type back a thumbs up emoji and delete the conversation. The bathroom door rattles suddenly, the knob turning against the lock. "Why is this door locked?" Troy's voice carries the dangerous edge I've learned to fear. "Just a minute." I flush the toilet to create noise, quickly returning the pamphlet to its hiding place, stomach upset. When I emerge, he stands too close, alcohol heavy on his breath. "What's this?" He holds up a small purple card, the resource center's contact information I keep folded in my wallet. My blood freezes. I'd been so careful. "What were you doing in my purse?" I counter, the newfound strength in my voice surprising us both. His eyes narrow. "Answer the question, Mira." "It's from work, for health insurance questions." Another lie, another brick in the wall I'm building between us. He crumples the card, his jaw working. "You think I'm stupid? This is from that domestic violence place downtown. I know because Deacon's ex tried the same shit." My phone sits on the counter behind him. The recording app is 3 taps away. I need to document this. "Troy," I begin, neither submissive nor provocative. "No one will believe you." He steps closer, voice dropping to a whisper that raises goosebumps on my arms. "My family's been in this town for generations. Your word against mine?" "I'll make sure nobody believes a fucking word." I slide sideways, creating space while reaching for my phone. "I'm not trying to." "You're collecting evidence, taking pictures, making recordings." His laugh holds no humor. "You think I don't know? You think I don't see?" My fingers close around my phone, thumb sliding to unlock it. "You're scaring me right now." "Good." He smiles, the expression never reaching his eyes. "You should be scared." 3 quick taps start the recording as he continues, unaware that every threat now preserves itself in digital memory, another piece of evidence for the folder labeled Elm River Docs. Tomorrow, Raina will bring the concealer that covers bruises, the one specially formulated for skin that's been struck. Marissa from billing will cover my afternoon shift so I can meet with the legal aid attorney who specializes in domestic violence cases. The restraining order application sits half completed in my work locker. My hand steadies as I hold the phone. I'm not just his victim anymore. I'm his reckoning, and I will do my best to endure this night so I can finally be free. I stand frozen in the kitchen, counting heartbeats, waiting for Raina to come as a rescue finally. Troy sprawls on the couch, beer bottle dangling from his fingers, eyes half closed as he stares at the television. The baseball game drones on, a perfect white noise to mask what comes next. "Your parents are something else," he mumbles, words slurring at the edges. "Brought me those steaks I like." I don't answer. The bruise beneath my eye throbs, a constant reminder of what they chose to ignore. My fingers slide into my pocket, finding the burner phone. 3 quick taps send the message we've rehearsed for weeks. Elm River, confirmed. The apartment feels different now, as if the air itself has changed. For months, these rooms have been my prison. Tonight, they're simply a stage for my final performance. I move with deliberate calm, washing dishes, straightening magazines on the coffee table. Each motion is calculated, timed. Troy's eyes follow me lazily, then drift closed. His breathing deepens as the second beer takes effect, right on schedule. 20 minutes. That's our window. The wall clock ticks, each second falling away like stones dropping into still water. I slip into the bathroom, retrieve the final items hidden behind the loose tile under the sink-me grandmother's silver locket, the deed to my car, the inheritance document my aunt left me that Troy never knew about. At precisely 9:17 p.m., 3 soft taps sound at the door. Pause. 2 more. Troy snores from the couch as I ease the door open. Raina stands in the hallway, car keys in one hand, the emergency bag we packed together last month in the other. Her eyes widen at the sight of my face, but she doesn't speak. We've practiced this too many times for questions now. 30 seconds, I whisper, taking the bag. We move through the apartment like ghosts. Raina stands watch while I collect the last essentials: me actual phone, my winter coat, the flash drive with digital copies of everything. Not the furniture, not the wedding photos, not the copper pots my mother gave us last Christmas. Nothing that can be replaced matters tonight. A floorboard creaks under my foot as I reach for my purse. Troy stirs, mumbling something incoherent. Raina freezes by the door. Our eyes lock across the room. 1 heartbeat. 2. Troy rolls over, his arm flopping off the couch. The beer bottle clatters to the floor, amber liquid seeping into the carpet. His eyes snap open. What the hell? He blinks, confusion clearing into sharp focus as he spots Raina, then the bag in my hand. Where do you think you're going? He lurches upright, swaying slightly. The familiar rage darkens his face as understanding dawns. You're not going anywhere, he says, voice deadly quiet as he steps toward me. We're recording this, Raina announces, her phone held high, red light blinking. Every word, every move. Troy stops, eyes narrowing as he calculates this new variable. I set my bag down slowly, reach into my pocket, and withdraw a thick envelope. With steady hands, I place it beside his toppled beer. It's not poison, I say, voice clearer than it's been in years. But it might kill what you've been hiding. His eyes flick to the envelope, then back to me. What the hell is this? The restraining order application. Copies of bank records showing every withdrawal. Photos of every bruise for the past 7 months. Witness statements. Medical records. The color drains from his face as I continue, each word another nail in the coffin of his control. Your cousin at the police station already knows. I filed the report yesterday. They're expecting me. Troy lunges forward, but Raina steps between us. Think carefully, she says. You're on camera. The sheriff has a copy of everything already. I watch the realization spread across his face as low, then all at once. The trap he never saw coming, built piece by piece while he thought I was broken. You can't prove anything, he snarls, but the uncertainty in his voice betrays him. Nobody will believe you. Your own parents don't even believe you. I shoulder my bag, look him directly in the eyes. The next voice you'll hear will be a judge's. He rushes toward us, but we're already through the door. Raina's keys jingling as we sprint down the hallway to the stairs, never the elevator. Too easy to trepanned burst into the night air. Raina's car waits, engine running. We slide in, doors locking with a reassuring thunk as Troy's shouts echo from the apartment above. My hands tremble as she pulls away from the curb, but my breathing remains steady. You did it, Raina whispers as streetlights flash across her face. You actually did it. 20 minutes later, we pull into the underground parking garage of a nondescript apartment building across town. Security cameras track our movement to the elevator. The doorman nods as we enter, already familiar with Raina. The apartment on the 5th floor is small. Plain white walls, secondhand furniture, simple kitchen. But the windows have 3 locks each. The door has a deadbolt, and the building requires key cards for every entrance. I set my bag down on the laminate floor, feeling the strange lightness in my chest. Not happiness, not yet, but the absence of immediate fear. Raina hands me an envelope from the kitchen counter, marked, "To be opened." Inside is a single card, her familiar handwriting flowing across the page. The bravest thing you ever did was continuing to live when you wanted to die. The second bravest thing was walking away when you wanted to stay. Welcome to the first day of your real life. I'm with you for all of it. R. For the first time in years, I allow myself to cry without worrying who might hear. Next day, the sheriff's station smells like burnt coffee and floor polish. Deputy Constance Reeves slides a steaming cup across her desk toward me, her eyes calm and steady. Not once has she questioned the photographs of my bruises or the audio recordings of Troy's threats. Not once has she looked away. "Your documentation is meticulous, Mrs. Ellison," she says, tapping my flash drive. "Most cases don't come to us this organized." I wrap my fingers around the mug, absorbing its warmth. I had time to prepare. The door to the bullpen swings open. Officer James Redmond Troy's cousin approaches with measured steps. My spine stiffens. This is the complication Raina and I anticipated, the family connection that might bury my complaint beneath small-town loyalties. "Deputy Reeves," he says, pointedly avoiding my gaze, "I need a word." They step aside, voices low. I catch fragments, conflict of interest, and recusing myself. When they return, Officer Redmond looks at me directly for the first time. "Mrs. Ellison, I've removed myself from any involvement in your case." Adam's apple bobs as he swallows. "What my cousin did, that's not what our family stands for." The unexpected integrity catches me off guard. I manage a nod before he walks away. Deputy Reeves sits back down. That solves one problem. Now, about this restraining order application. A week later, the courthouse corridor stretches long and cold. Troy stands with his attorney near the water fountain, his smile faltering when he spots the accordion file tucked under my arm. He expected me to be disheveled, intimidated, alone. Instead, I arrive in a charcoal suit with Raina beside me and the weight of evidence in my hands. "All rise," the bailiff announces as Judge Patricia Houlihan enters the courtroom. Troy's attorney, a silver-haired man with monogrammed cufflinks, presents their case first. "Your Honor, this is clearly a vindictive action following a minor marital disagreement. Mrs. Ellison has no witnesses to these alleged incidents." "Actually, Your Honor," I say when my turn comes, opening my file methodically, "I have documented 15 separate incidents over 26 months. I lay out bank statements showing financial abuse, medical records with injuries inconsistent with reported accidents, and photographs time-stamped and dated." Judge Houlihan frowns, scanning a particular document. "These photographs from the 14th of October, your parents were present that day?" She peers at me over reading glasses. "Have they provided statements?" "No, Your Honor." My voice remains steady despite the heat crawling up my neck. They chose not to acknowledge what they saw. Troy smirks until I place the audio recordings into evidence. His face drains of color as his own voice fills the courtroom. "Nobody believes you, Mira. Nobody ever will." The temporary restraining order is granted before lunch. 3 days after the verdict, "Everything you've told me checks out," Alexis Monroe says, reviewing my documents in a back booth at Baxter's Diner. The investigative journalist's reputation for exposing corruption made her my first call after securing the restraining order. "I've verified the police reports, court filings, and medical records," she continues. "I spoke with Deputy Reeves and that hospital colleague, Raina." I nod, pushing scrambled eggs around my plate. "Troy started quite the campaign online," Alexis says, showing me his Facebook posts. Claims of my mental instability and vindictive lies fill the screen. "He always said I was crazy," I murmured. "Well, his former employer doesn't think so." She slides a printed statement across the table. "Granite State Insurance has officially terminated his employment and expressed full support for victims of domestic violence." The power shift feels like vertigo. 4 days after the verdict, my phone buzzes for the 12th time today. Mother again. I silence it, but it immediately rings once more. "You need to talk to them eventually," Raina says from my new apartment's kitchen. When I finally answer, Mother's voice sounds strained, unfamiliar. "Mira, darling, we had no idea things were so serious with Troy." "You saw my face," I reply, each word precise and cutting. "You chose silence." "We thought it was just a one-time thing." It wasn't. The anger I've contained for years flows clean and hot through my veins. "You brought him steaks from Wilson's Deli while I stood there with a bruise under my eye." "We were afraid." Father's voice breaks through, apparently on speakerphone. "We didn't know what to do." "You could have asked if I was safe. You could have offered help. You could have seen me." The silence stretches between us. 33 years of unspoken truths suspended in the static. "We're so sorry," Father finally whispers, his voice thick with tears. "It's too little, it's too late, but it's a start. But I will be my own savior in 6 months, so I will build my own peace again." At the present, the morning sun paints my kitchen walls gold. I stand at the counter of my apartment, coffee mug warming my palms, and realize I've been still for 5 minutes, not frozen in fear, just peacefully watching dust motes dance in light. 6 months ago, such stillness would have been impossible. I take a deliberate sip, savoring the bitter warmth. No one monitors how long I linger over breakfast now. No one counts my calories or questions my purchases. The simple pleasure of choosing a bright yellow mug instead of the plain white ones Troy insisted upon still feels revolutionary. My phone buzzes. Dana's text reads, "Meeting moved to 10. Bringing those almond cookies you like." Dana and Sierra both survived Troy before me. We found each other during the proceedings, recognizing something in each other's posture during courthouse waits. Now we lead support sessions together at the community center, our shared history transformed into a roadmap for others. I respond with a thumbs-up emoji. 6 months ago, I measured every word in texts, knowing Troy would check them later. My promotion certificate from Manchester Memorial hangs framed beside my nursing degree. Chief Financial Analyst now, not just a coordinator. My boss cited my exceptional organizational skills and attention to detail in her recommendation traits I honed documenting Troy's abuse. The irony isn't lost on me. The doorbell chimes me Father's distinctive 3-pulse ring. I check my watch, right on time for our monthly conversation. He stands on my welcome mat, silver hair freshly trimmed, holding a small potted plant. "Peace, Lily," he says, voice catching slightly. "Thought it might be like that spot by your window." I accept the plant, but not his attempt to step inside. We aren't there yet. Instead, I joined him on the landing, closing the door behind me. "Your letters," I say, referring to the weekly pages he's sent since I left Troy. "I appreciate the consistency." His weathered hands twist around each other. "I failed you, Mira. When I saw your face that day," he shakes his head. "No excuse is good enough." I don't disagree. The bruise they ignored became the dividing line in my life before and after. Mom still can't acknowledge her part, sending birthday cards as if nothing happened, never mentioning Troy's name or the court case that made local headlines. "Have dinner with me next Thursday," I say, surprising us both. Not forgiveness yet, but a conversation. Relief smooths the creases around his eyes. He nods once, sharply, a man accustomed to containing emotion. That evening, Raina arrives carrying grocery bags, followed by Sierra, Dana, and 3 women from our support group. My dining table purchased at a thrift store with my first independent paycheck barely fits us all. To Mira's famous lasagna, Raina raises her glass. The woman who couldn't boil water 6 months ago because someone convinced her she'd burn down the kitchen. Laughter ripples around the table knot, the nervous kind that filled Troy's dinner parties, but genuine warmth. These women know my story. I know theirs. No masks required. Later, when just Raina remains, helping dry dishes, she notices the candle I've placed in my window. "Anniversary?" she asks softly. I nod. 6 months since the bruise they ignored and the strength it revealed. I light the flame, watching it stand strong against the darkness outside. Not a morning candle, but a beacon marking the day I stopped needing permission to feel safe. Tomorrow I'll finish the resource guide I'm creating for the shelter. Next week I'll speak at the sentencing where Troy faces consequences for financial fraud and assault. But tonight belongs to this quiet celebration of ordinary freedom, sleeping without fear, laughing without calculation, breathing without permission. My reflection in the window glass shows a woman I'm still getting to know. She looks tired but steady, with eyes that hold your gaze instead of sliding away. She doesn't flinch at sudden movements. She plans futures instead of escapes. If someone witnessed your pain and stayed silent, could you forgive them? Would you quietly prepare like I did, or leave at the first sign of violence? Have you ever kept silent to keep the peace and paid for it later? The answers aren't simple, but asking the questions out loud, that's where healing begins.